In the dim dawn of humanity's early history, there was a man chosen by God to guide his people through a world steeped in ignorance and idolatry. This man was Noah, known as Nuh in Arabic, a prophet who would go on to become a central figure in the story of faith, endurance, and divine justice. Noah was born into a time of spiritual darkness. His people had long forgotten the worship of the one true God. Instead, they crafted idols from stone and wood, bowing in reverence before lifeless objects. This idolatry was not just a spiritual deviation, it was a reflection of societal decay. Corruption and wickedness were rampant, and justice was a forgotten ideal. It was in this environment that Noah, even as a young man, stood apart. Known for his honesty, wisdom, and deep connection to God, Noah was chosen as a prophet. The divine message entrusted to him was urgent yet simple. Turn your hearts back to God, the creator and sustainer of all that exists. But his task would not be easy. Noah was sent to a people who were stubborn in their disbelief, unwilling to change their ways or let go of their idols. Full of zeal and faith, Noah began his mission. He spoke with his people day and night, urging them to abandon their false gods and embrace the worship of the one true God. He warned them of the consequences of their actions, explaining that persistent corruption and idolatry would lead to their ruin. But the response he received was disheartening. The leaders of his community, who feared losing their power and influence, mocked Noah. They called him a liar, accused him of madness, and urged others to ignore his words. The majority of his people followed these leaders blindly, refusing to consider Noah's message. In their arrogance, they asked disdainfully, "Why should we follow you, when only the poor and lowly among us believe in what you say?" Despite the rejection and ridicule, Noah remained steadfast. For nearly 950 years, yes, centuries, he preached tirelessly, hoping to save his people from divine punishment. Think about that, nearly an entire millennium of persistent, patient preaching. But the hearts of his people seemed sealed against the truth. Every year, Noah grew older, and every year the disbelief of his nation grew stronger. Eventually, Noah reached a turning point. He turned to God in sorrow and prayer, saying, "My Lord, I have called my people night and day, but they only flee further from me. They cover their ears and ignore the truth. My efforts have only made them more defiant." It was then that a revelation came, one that shaped the next chapter of Noah's life. God informed him that no more of his people would believe, except those who already had. The time for warnings had passed, and the time for divine judgment was drawing near. Yet, with this news came a monumental command. God instructed Noah to build an ark. Now, consider the challenge. Noah, an elderly man mocked for centuries, was commanded to build a massive ship in a land far from any sea, with no sign of storms or floods. Can you imagine the ridicule? The people laughed even louder than before. "What is this madness, Noah?" they jeered. "Have you turned into a carpenter now?" But Noah, as always, obeyed without hesitation. Fueled by faith, he began construction with the help of his small band of followers. Piece by piece, plank by plank, they built the ark under God's guidance. The design was precise, meant to withstand what no ordinary ship could handle. It was a labor of love, patience, and trust in God's promise. As the ark neared completion, God's final instruction came. Gather in the ark a pair of every living creature, male and female, along with provisions for the journey. And finally, bring aboard the believers, those who had stayed true to Noah's call. The small group entered the massive vessel, their faith shielding them from the scorn of the onlookers outside. Then the event that had been foretold came to pass. Dark clouds gathered, obscuring the sun. A heavy stillness filled the air, broken only by the first drops of rain, but these drops quickly turned into a torrential downpour, unlike anything seen before. The earth itself joined in, erupting with water from springs that gushed forth violently. The floodwaters rose swiftly, submerging homes, fields, and even mountains. The mocking voices of Noah's people turned to cries of panic and despair. They rushed to higher ground, only to find no refuge. Among the unbelievers was Noah's own son. Stricken with sorrow, Noah called out to him, pleading, "My son, come aboard with us, and do not be with the disbelievers." But his son, blinded by pride, refused. "I will take refuge on a mountain," his son replied. "That will protect me from the flood." Noah responded with a heavy heart. There is no protection today from God's command, except for those to whom he shows mercy. Before Noah could say more, a massive wave rose and swept his son away. It was a moment of profound heartbreak, a reminder that even a prophet could not compel belief in those who refused guidance. For days, the ark floated on an endless expanse of water, its occupants at the mercy of God's will. And then, as suddenly as it began, the storm ceased. The rain stopped and the waters began to recede. Slowly, the ark came to rest on Mount Judea, a place of safety and new beginnings. When Noah and the believers disembarked, they stepped into a transformed world, washed clean of its former corruption. In gratitude, Noah prostrated before God, offering thanks for his mercy and deliverance. But his story did not end there. Noah continued to live among his people, guiding them in their faith and helping them rebuild their lives on the principles of justice and righteousness. As the years passed, Noah's time on earth drew to a close. Before his death, he gathered his followers and reminded them of their covenant with God. He warned them to remain steadfast in their worship and to avoid the mistakes of those who came before. Then, full of faith and surrounded by those who loved him, Noah returned to his Creator, a prophet whose legacy would echo through generations. Noah's followers gathered around him, forming a circle of unity and devotion. With faith unwavering and love surrounding him, Noah departed this world, leaving a legacy that would echo through generations. Noah's story is a timeless reminder of resilience, faith, and divine justice, inspiring countless generations to come. And so, the Ark stands as a testament to Noah's unwavering faith and the promise of new beginnings.